7:14 on a very hot Monday. I need to remind our folks real quick before we start talking with Mike that we are under a heat advisory. Let me pull that up. Aren't you looking forward to a heat advisory?
Man, I've seen a bunch of them.
Heat advisory for most of western Illinois. I'm going to say 99% of Missouri. Just about everybody in Arkansas. There's four counties. Benton, Carroll, Washington, and Madison County are not in the heat advisory. All other counties in Arkansas are in the heat advisory. Most of Mississippi, Alabama, half of Illinois, South Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska. It's July.
Yeah, it's July. It's time. I always wonder on stuff like that with that heat advisory. What is special over there in those four counties that it's not going to be as hot or as humid as it is here?
I asked a meteorologist that one time. I said, how can it be 104 in Mountain Home?
Yeah.
And it could be 99 in Harrison. It could be 93 in Fayetteville, but it can be 104 in Springfield. And he says, you remember the little tire pumps when we were kids, and we pump a bicycle and get hot at the bottom? Well, that's what a high pressure is like. He says what happens, that high pressure stays over a particular area. So if our high pressure goes like 30.30 and say in Springfield it's 29.99, the high pressure keeps the air compressed so it can't cool off. So at night it doesn't cool off at night as much, and then the next day, boom, it gets hotter.
Wow, Dale, that was a pretty scientific explanation. Yeah.
Thank you, Ron Hurst at Channel 3 for telling me.
Darn.
So how you been?
Man, I don't want to answer any questions after that. I'm fine.
My brain hurts now.
No, I'm fine. Everything's been going good.
Busy mechanic?
Yeah, hot weather's here, and we'll be busy. There'll be a lot of AC issues now, and when it gets really hot like this, of course, we see some electrical starters, batteries, alternators.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. I really honestly think we sell as many batteries, if not more, in the hot weather than we do cold weather.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've seen that too back in my days. Yeah,
I really do. And of course, everybody's air is going to be lacking a little bit, or a lot of people's will be. And
well, let's talk about that car battery real quick.
Yep.
Okay. Let's say you've got a nice 4 or 5 year old car, and you pop the hood and you see AC Delco, Mopar, Motorcraft, whatever it may be. Maybe time to have that checked in this hot weather.
It is.
In my opinion, this is just Dale's 25 cents worth. I think the AC Delco battery from the factory is the better battery.
They're pretty good stuff.
They're good batteries.
all the batteries now seem to be decent. Even
Chrysler's?
Oh yeah, they're fine.
Really?
Yeah, they do good. Batteries are. And people have heard me say it. The batteries are an inexact science. I can buy a brand new Interstate battery, and you can buy a brand new Interstate battery, and mine may last 3 years, and yours may last 6 or 8. You don't know.
The most I ever got out of a battery was 9 years on a Sears Diehard.
Right.
Yep.
We've seen some come in with 9 and 10 years, different brands.
I know the GM batteries will do it. The AC Delcos, yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. If your car's 4, 5, 6 years old and you've still got the factory battery in it, it'd be a good idea to get it checked. See what condition it is in.
Yeah.
Because again, this hot weather makes life very, very hard on the electrical stuff, especially if it's a little bit old and a little bit weak.
If you're just putting around town, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you're going from here to perhaps the northern part of the country, east, west, doesn't matter. If you're going 400 or 500 miles, I'd check a battery.
Yeah, make sure that, and that's another one of those things. If there's a lot of people traveling right now, the roads are full of people, and we don't mind checking stuff like that for you. If you've got a question about that battery or whatever you've got a question about, give us a shout. If it is battery, we've got a couple of different ways of testing them, and they work great. And I can give you a printed out report on the condition of your battery.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
And not only do you check the voltage, but you can check the output of the charging system, things of that nature, make sure everything is up to snuff.
Yes, you can check. You check the battery, you can check the starter, and you can check the alternator. And I can give you it'll print out everything on all 3 items.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We got a question here today.
Okay.
Hey, if you need to ask a question, Mike, on Mondays, you can send it to me at dale@mountainhomeradio.com, and I'll print it out and put it here on the desk. And when Mike's here on Monday, we'll talk about it. Dale at Mountain Home, and it's all spelled out. It's like 40 miles long. Dale@mountainhomeradio.com. I was told my car uses a cartridge-style oil filter. What is that?
There's a bunch of them out there now.
That's old. That's old school.
It is,
Well, yeah.
I remember back when I first started doing this, we had some V8 Chevrolet trucks and stuff that came in that still used the cartridge-style filter. And now you're looking around and you see several different makes of cars coming in that are going back to a cartridge filter. I'll just name one of them. The one we see as common as anything is the little General Motors Ecotec 4-cylinder engines. They have a cartridge style oil filter. The Chrysler 3.6, that the new engine they're putting in the vans, and they're putting it in everything. The 3.6
They're
liter.
going to a cartridge on that?
Yes, absolutely.
See, my 57 New Yorker with the Hemi's got a cartridge.
Yep. Ford, you don't see too much on a Ford yet, but you also see it in a lot of the European makes.
I'm surprised they're doing that.
Mercedes, BMW. Now I've jumped ahead a bit, so let's explain the difference in a cartridge and a spin-on. What most people are used to seeing is a spin-on oil filter. That's where we use a filter wrench, and you loosen it, and you spin it off, just like you would a nut on a bolt, and you throw it away. You spin a new one on. Oil filter's changed. That's a metal canister with the filtering element made inside of it. You throw the whole
unit.
The whole unit, it goes away. A cartridge filter is one where the manufacturer has got there will be a cap or part of the filtering body of that you spin off, and there is an element. The paper element is inside there. You remove the element, change the O-ring, the sealing O-ring, put a new cartridge element inside that housing, and replace it, put it back on the car.
So the difference is with the spin-on, you change housing and filtering capacity.
Right.
With the cartridge, you're taking just the filtering capacity unit out only and retaining the cartridge, so to speak, the housing.
Yeah, you retain the housing.
So there's less waste.
There is less waste. Toyota's another one. We see almost all the Toyotas now are going to that style. And it started 10 years ago. We started seeing some of them, and now there's more. We see quite a few cars now with cartridge. And used to it was kind of a big deal, you know. Every one of them take a different tool to change them. You know, one of them has of course, Toyota has the special Toyota wrench.
Yeah.
You know, and the General Motors stuff takes about a 27 millimeter socket, you know, and it's just different things, you know, that you have to change them. Once you get used to doing them, they're not a big deal. Are they an improvement over the old spin-on filters? I don't see how. It's just different. And I think you hit upon it. There is less waste. And
well, we look at, let's take a standard FL1A style filter that was used mainly with Ford and some of the big Chrysler V8s in our day, equivalent to like a PF35, the big filter for the Chevy trucks. There's probably 3 pounds of metal.
Yeah, there's a lot to one of them. There is. This is just, and some of them you'd have to see how small they are. Some of the import cars, the filtering element's pretty small. And that's all it is. It's just that element and an O-ring. So that's all we're throwing away. And I think you hit on a good point is there's less waste, because we're not throwing away a metal canister, metal ends and all that stuff, you know, and there's also less work on the other end that goes into making this.
Yeah.
But you know, unfortunately that doesn't always translate into cheaper prices. You know, they always figure out some way that they can keep the prices up, but
yeah.
You know,
there's always that factor.
Right. But a cartridge filter, and if your car has one, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, you know, if you're not used to that stuff, it'll be a bit of a learning curve for you. It's nothing terribly complex. You may have to buy a different kind of a wrench to change it, and just take your time and make sure you get those O-rings in the right place on that new housing, and we'll put a little oil on them and thread it back up in there, and do not get carried away tightening them, you know.
Yeah.
It's easy to do to just tighten the fire out of them, but you don't have to do that.
No. And I'm thinking there may be a different type of flow with synthetic oil. Think about it. If you're using an OW20, 1030, or a 520, they may, because that oil is so light, but yet so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's light but heavy. In other words, with a light motor on an OW20, it still flows faster, and it may be something that they're working on with synthetic oils.
I don't know, Dale. That's
something to research. I'm going to take a look at that.
Yeah, I don't know.
And what
on
engine
that.
from Chrysler? 3 watt?
3.6 V6. You've
Yes.
seen it in all the vans. You've seen it in their half-ton trucks. You've seen it in a lot of their cars.
Really?
Yep. And it's right up on top of the engine, real easy to change.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And
Yeah.
General Motors, the EcoTech 4-cylinders, you're seeing them a lot. Toyota, almost all of their cars and stuff have cartridge style filters, and then you see it a lot on the Europeans with BMW and Mercedes. Again,
Yeah.
is it
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
it
We'll wait and see. We'll wait.
yeah, is this a fad? Is this something that's here to stay? I don't know. I've seen so many things come and go in the automotive world. You get a little bit jaded by it, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it works fine. It is just different, and if you're not used to changing a car with a cartridge style oil filter, it can be a mess, and it's easy to make it. It's easy if you're not careful to make a mistake on those O-rings and maybe not get. There's a couple of grooves. Make sure you get it in the right one. Oil it. Don't pinch it when you're putting it back on and putting it back in the engine. But it's not rocket science, or Lord knows we wouldn't be doing it. And it's pretty simple once you get used to it. And you don't, when we're sitting here talking about that cartridge filter stuff, probably overall the cars out on the road is probably less than 20% of them's got it. So it's still overwhelmingly a spin-on filter world, but the cartridge stuff has been expanding in application.
I remember the days I was down years ago, back when Napa was down just past the square.
Yep.
And guy needed a cartridge filter for an old Chevrolet, 51, 52 Chevy truck. And they said, well, we can give you this plate where you bolt this on and put a spin on. Mm-hmm. That's when they went to I think it was like a PF35AC Delco filter, you just screw it on. They actually had a bolt-on plate for those little Chevrolets.
Yeah, a retrofit kit so you could go to spin-ons.
Yeah.
And now we're going the other way.
Yep.
The more things change, the more they stay the same, I guess.
And that cartridge filter in that old Hemi is big.
Yeah.
It's probably 6 inches long, 3.5, 4 inches diameter. It's a big, big filter.
Right. Yeah, the ones on the old Chevy V8s were
They were huge, yeah. Interesting.
Right.
Interesting. Cartridge filters. We've still got 2 minutes to talk. You've got all major brands of motor oil. No holidays this week. So you're there Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Yeah, it's going to be Labor Day will be our next holiday.
Wow, September.
And we got you name it, we got it on motor oil just about. We keep plenty of the filters, cartridge and spin on. And if you've got a question, if somebody wants to call and ask me, hey man, does my car or my vehicle have a spin on or a cartridge? I'll try to answer it for you. And again, we change them every day, the cartridge style filters, so it's not a big deal. We've got all the equipment to do it with. We've done tons and tons of them, and if you want to let us do one, we'd be glad to do it for you. And we've got enough experience that it's not a big deal with cartridge filters. Yeah, I'm not sure how much of that stuff Walmart carries. I know O'Reilly and Napa and all of our big parts chains, they've got all of it covered.
Yeah, they'll have it.
But if you're buying your oil filters at Walmart, I'm not sure what they carry as far as the cartridge stuff goes. And it's going to be a busy week. When it gets hot, we've had a few hot days this summer, really, but we've not had a stretch of hot weather. I watched the weather this morning. Every day on the 7-day forecast, I think the coolest temperature was about 94, so we're in for a run of it now.
Yeah, well, being it's middle of July, I mean, this is the thing right now that's abnormal about it would be the humidity.
Right.
Seeing 95, 96 degrees with this humidity is one thing, but normally, we get down about 47, 48%. I'm pulling it up now. Well, let's talk a little bit about the weather conditions on cars. We just come through a lot of rain. We've used the lights, the wipers, the brakes a lot. Now it's hot and dry. And, look at this, 88% humidity, 71-degree dew point. And it's only 75 degrees outside. So that puts our...
Well, there's going to be some sweating today.
Yeah. The heat index is already up around 85 degrees. So,
right.
And that's what's going to hurt.
Yeah.
So, oh, wow, about out of time. Real quick, all major brands of motor oil, top quality filters for all makes of cars.
Absolutely.
Either Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 this week. 425-3135 is Mike's phone number. Give him, Dennis, Robert, anybody.
We're on Highway 201 North, right across from Salvation Army, and we'll be glad to hear from you.
All right, give Mike and them a call. They're waiting to serve you. I hear my phone call for 7:30. We'll be right back.